Yeah, no one cares. All right, let me start this interview off saying that if you see a brown stain on my shorts, it's because I'm drinking chocolate and spilled it, not because I pooped all over myself.
It's Nell pouring chocolate. He's taking a chocolate bath.
It sure does look like I pooped all over myself, though.
Scat man. Oh, so.
Anyhow, you already know who I am. Anyways, we're going to talk about validating a business, and here is David Favor.
Howdy.
He makes a lot of money and spends his days in his cool little library up here. And your primary business is like a food. You're in the health industry, right?
Yeah, I mean well, you know, it's funny that so there's my public face and private face. The public face is the superfoods we sell. The private face though is the dealer network, which is actually like a micro franchise system that resells our products because 80-90% of our money comes from reselling.
So let's back up. So now you've got this cool business that makes money and all that stuff. But this is now. When you first started, so most of the people watching have probably never really started a business or tried and failed. And the whole entrepreneur out buying business cards, all that
Don't
crap.
be a entrepreneur.
Yeah. But so you've got all these products. Do you have some here?
Yeah. So
we're not trying to sell you anything. I just want to show like examples of like
yeah. So
stuff
like
you sell.
Here's a good product. Take a snootful of that. Does that smell good?
It does smell good.
Tell me what it smells like.
Like
stargazers, plumerias.
I have no idea.
Flowers.
Flowers.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Oh yeah, it does smell like flowers.
Jungle flowers, man.
But now you have packaging that has like
So
you know it's got the nutrition facts and everything on it.
And most of them have UPC.
But what I'm interested in is in the beginning, you didn't have all this fancy stuff, right? So whenever you were starting a superfoods company, like how did that start? Like tell me like the first stages of that.
So this is probably the best product to talk about. This is jungle bee pollen in this thing with all this labeling. So here's how it started. And this is where I call it the 10-year rule is, you know, what you've done for the last 10 years, almost every day without pay, you'll probably do for the next 10 years, almost every day without pay.
That's a good rule.
So that's what you design your business around, what you do every day. Because that way, if you get...
So is this like a hobby that you're talking about?
Well, it's not a hobby. It's more like a drive. Like, there's stuff that you're going to do every day. Like
I used to do my blog every day, even though I didn't get paid for it for years.
Well, but there are things you're focused on, like you're focused on, you know, how do you refine your expertise about marketing, your health expertise, and, you know, your relationship expertise. Everything in your life that makes your life better, you're on track to learn more about that. So whatever that thing is for you, I mean, I don't know what it is, but whatever it is for you, you figure that out. That's what you base your business. You don't get some, you know, long paid sales form from some internet marketer for $197 you can buy my gizmo thing and in 24 hours you'll make 7 figures. Do you think that'll work?
No, probably not.
Yeah. If it does, send me the offer. I'd like to try it.
It is unlikely that will work.
So the bee pollen is a good example. So my wife, you and I have been raw foodists we've got over 50 years of raw fooding between us. So that means we eat food that's, you know, primarily in its natural state.
So you were really into the health stuff already?
Way far. But
you weren't making money from it?
No. Okay. So my health story, and this is back to the 10-year rule, is that when I was 2 years old, I filled my stomach with gasoline. Destroyed my ability to process nutrients. And the doctors kept telling me I had to have everything from the bottom half of my stomach to my rectum hacked out. And I told them they were as dumb as a bag of hammers, and I just left. And, you know, doctors, if you hear that, you're stupid. Anyway, so my primary thing, one of the things was health. I was always interested in health because nobody could tell me how to stay alive. I had to figure it out myself. And so that went on for years and years, and that kept developing expertise until I went from surviving to thriving. And I met my wife, and, you know, we lived together we were married for several years, and then people started pushing on us about, well, how do you do what you do? Where do you get your products? How do you make your recipes? So tell us how to do it. So we started doing this, and this is really important. This is how you build, like you know, you were doing the product validation, doing stuff to Craigslist. That's great, but what's even better is if you have a house list of true fans, which don't mean Facebook fans. Facebook sucks. No offense. So does Twitter. What I mean by fans are people that are hanging on your every word. That is a true fan. And so what we did was we started doing a raw food feast or a potluck. So every month, actually 2 to 3 times a month.
For profit or just for fun?
No, just for fun.
Okay.
Yeah. So for 2 to 3 times every month, we get together. physical, not, this ain't no blog or webinar or any of that crap. This is face-to-face, sweat, nose-to-nose, hanging out with people. In our house. We did these events in our house. So 2 to 3 times a month. We did that for a few years, and we were buying bee pollen from this company. It was the best bee pollen that I'd ever had.
Bee pollen.
And it was these old, this older couple that were, getting close to 70, and I told them one day when we were picking up some bee pollen, I said, if you guys ever retire, let me know, and I'll reach into our community on my mailing list and see if there's somebody that'd like to take your business over. So 3 or 4 months later, they called me up and says, we think we're ready to retire. Can you find us somebody? I looked around, couldn't find anybody. So I said, well, how about I just buy your business from you myself, and I'll figure out, I'll either do something with it or, find somebody. And they said, great. So, no joke, they sold me their business for the cost of product they had on hand. And along with that, I got automatic vendor status in Whole Foods, Central Market, and Wild Oats.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had to buy 2 tons of bee pollen now. And so imagine that you got 2 tons of bee pollen. What are you going to do with it? Well, you can't eat 2 tons of bee pollen before it goes bad. So what we did was the next raw food feast, we did ghetto product validation, a la Neville. So we had some Ziploc bags, and we put bee pollen in Ziploc bags. There was no labels. There was no seal. There was no nutritional. There wasn't nothing. There was
you
bags.
Just scooped it into a Ziploc
We just
bag.
scooped. We got a gram scale off Amazon and put bags on a scale and scooped in. I think it was 8 ounces or something of bee pollen.
You'd be a good drug dealer if you ever needed.
Oh yeah, it was like
just replace the product and you'd be a Colombian.
Yeah, I mean, in the past when drugs were fun, I really liked doing that, and so it helps my little sort of my pusher gene to sell superfoods. So you actually helps people instead of hurting them. But that's how we started. Ziploc bags, no labels, no nothing. And we sold product for almost a year with no labels, just in Ziploc bags.
So was it hard to sell this product? Like, did you actually have to go out there and present it like sleazy salesman, or people were just literally like, "Yo, you got the good stuff."
Yeah. So here's
kind of was like drugs actually.
Yeah, it was like
you got the good stuff. Give it to me.
Yeah. So another thing is wherever your expertise lies, my rule of thumb is that if you have to like somehow sell to get a sale, whatever you're doing is wrong. I mean, my rule of thumb is people have to beat down my door to ask me to sell them product, and then I know I got a good one.
I actually tried to buy this, the chocolate bliss stuff we're drinking right now. I tried to buy it the first time I came to your house, and you're like, "No, I don't sell it." I'm like, "What do you mean?" It's like $50 or so. It's like expensive to buy all this stuff. And I was like, I got a credit card, I got cash, and you're like, no,
call
I'm
my
not.
guy, yeah.
Yeah, you were like, if you're really serious, you could go to the website and buy it or whatever, or you refer me to someone else. You don't even sell it, do you?
Well, we do. I mean, we sell it. We have a. Oh, so here's another thing, is if you'd like to see what you can do off a single page product catalog, all these like. People are like, oh, I'm going to start a business. I got to have my shopping cart, got to have pictures. If you go to radicalhealth.com/order, you can run a multi-million-dollar business off a text file or an HTML file. It's just got a list of like bee pollen, $50, chocolate bliss, $50, whatever. It's just got a list of products. Our whole catalog is one HTML page.
Well, that's it. That's ghetto.
I mean,
that's not even testing. That's just ghetto.
It's ghetto. I mean, and ghetto's good. It's way, way good.
Well, when someone actually wants your product, it doesn't really matter how.
No, it doesn't. I got news. If you think that a shopping cart or pretty pictures or some fancy website is going to sell product, no. 2 things. This is a really good, important rule too. Is that great marketing sells product. Great product keeps itself sold. If you sell 1 million units and you get a return of 1 million units, you ain't made nothing. In fact, you're upside down because you got to pay the return fees. So, great marketing and great product. That's the winning combination.
So one of the interesting things, coming back to validation, is that you never tried to start a business out of this. It just kind of happened that, okay, our raw food things are catching on. People really like the recommendations we're giving and buy whatever we say. So maybe there's something there.
Yeah.
It was just kind of an opportunity you recognized.
I didn't even know we had a business for a long time.
Yeah,
right?
you thought you were just helping people out.
Yeah, so for almost 3 years, we just ran Raw Food Feast. We didn't sell a single product. First product we sold was bee pollen because we ended up with 2 tons of it. We had to do something with it.
So what I tell people usually, and this sounds exactly like what you did, is that whenever you're kind of like blindsided by the success of anything, like that's when you know that something's there. It's kind of like even when I started selling products, I made a product, I thought 10 people would buy it, and the only reason I charged was it took me so damn long to make, and I was like, I can't put this up for free.
Right.
And I actually told Noah a couple years ago, I was like, if I sell 10 of these, like ever, like in 5 years,
awesome,
I'll be happy. Because 10 people will have saw it. And, of course, the first day, it just, like, knocked it out of the park. And we're like, people bought this, and they like it, and they're telling their friends about it? Okay, maybe there's some sort of direction here that the universe is telling me you're probably good at that. Yeah. So the universe is telling you that, you know, you're probably good at this.
Yeah. So you were asking how we started. So that brings up another really important validation rule, as I call it, the 24-hour before the sunset rules. Is that if you have an idea, if you can't validate it and make your first sale before the sun goes down, something's broken.
So if you're trying to wait, say that again.
So for example, we had all this bee pollen, so we're going to eat it ourselves, or we're going to do something with it. So it came to the day of the feast was a few more days later. So we just got Ziploc bags, threw it in bags. So that it's a 24-hour validation. You put put product in baggies and bundle them up, and you make your first sale. And if you can't make your first sale before the sun goes down, something's wrong. So I had a guy, no joke, comes to me the other day, and he's into this project, 3 years of his life, and almost $500,000, 500 grand. They do their big launch, they make all their money back. So now he's at zero. 3 years of his life, $500,000 almost, into this thing. That's just freaking broken, right? Don't do that. If you need money, so here's another rule. Is whatever you do to generate a product has to cost you this much. $0. Like the Craigslist thing is brilliant that you talk about. Or the taco stand thing that you did, the taco,
how to validate a taco stand.
$2 tacos for whatever. If you can't sell one of those by the end of the day.
Actually, if I was going to validate a taco stand, I go to Jack in the Box because they have 2 tacos for $1. I just buy a bunch of Jack in the Box tacos and not even make them myself.
Yeah, and sell them for $2.
Put them on a stand, and see. You're just trying to see if people are going to buy your stuff in that location at that time, et cetera, et cetera.
So tell people that missed the conversation you had about the selling water experiment that you did.
Oh yeah, I wanted to see if a bum could do this for me, because that goes into a whole nother thing that I really don't like, a lot of homeless people and things like that. But I wanted to see if like this untapped labor force could actually sell something.
Sell stuff, yeah.
And so I told all my friends, I was like, I'm going to do this bottled water experiment. And apparently I'm the only one that wants to go out in the corner and sell bottled water. I thought that was fun. Everyone else thought that was degrading.
I'd do it. Man, I'll go sell water with you.
Well, but everyone is always a naysayer, right? And like, for good reason. They love you. They're trying to protect you. They don't want you to get shanked by a bum. Like, that's what they think is going to happen. And so I talked to a couple of bums. I didn't really feel threatened or anything. And then I also talked to officers. So everyone's like, well, you need a permit. Well, I was like, well, I'm not going to.
Don't do permits.
Okay, so I actually asked 2 officers. I was just like, for research purposes, I just said, hey, what would you guys do if you saw me holding up a bottle of water on the side of the road, and then like with a shirt that says like bottled water $1? They'd be like, they were honestly like,
who cares?
Really? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, we wouldn't do anything. Like, unless you're like causing problems, throwing bottled water at people or something like that, and harassing people, then we would stop you. But otherwise, like, we don't care.
Right.
And so I was just like, all right, cool. The police aren't on me, so let's go. So I literally took some bottled water the day before, put it in the refrigerator, got a cooler, which I already had, lugged it out there, and started selling bottled water. Yeah. I turned an old, like, you get all these crap shirts. I just turned an old white shirt inside out, and with a marker,
on it.
Wrote bottled water $1. I got the bum guy to wear it, and we sold all the bottled water really quick. And I was actually shocked how fast, because it was 25 bottles in 30 minutes.
Wow.
And we didn't try. So the first time I and this is like on a slow day, on a day that wasn't even hot. Like, it was actually cloudy. It was the wrong day to do this.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah. And so that kind of validated that, yeah, this probably would work. But how much work did that take? It cost me $5
And whatever
like
the
that.
marker ink was to write on the old T-shirt, right?
I mean, it was super ghetto, but it worked. So it proved the concept.
Well,
validation.
That's the way we did our bee pollen. Is we had bee pollen that we bought, right? And we had Ziploc bags in the cupboard. And so that's what we use to validate.
Where I think most people are just they'll try to start a foods company without ever trying to make a sale first. They'll get that nutrition. I don't even know how you get all that nutrition fact, but I'm sure you got to go to some lab and all this crap to do all that kind of stuff. So I mean, most people make it way too hard on themselves.
Yeah,
they're afraid of ghetto.
So let's go one step further. So the first iteration of this thing was Ziploc bags, just unlabeled. And we sold those for like, I don't know, probably close to a year.
And that's just friends that would come to your potluck then.
Yeah, and we, you know, and here's another interesting thing is the potlucks that we ran, those things were once a month, and they turned into like probably $2,000 to $5,000 a night for 4 hours.
Wow.
I mean, that is a serious business going, and I'm like, holy smokes, I'm making some money here. So the first thing was Ziploc bags. The next thing was we went to these, like, you know, the bags that fold out that have the bottom thing. They kind of look like a teepee.
Yeah.
We went to those and we got like a heat sealer for $100, and we sealed them. And now we're selling better bags, still unlabeled, you know. And then we came up with these. I just printed them out on like a, you know, the little square white like badge, like the thing you've got on your shirt. They just said Radical Health, bee pollen, and, you know, a little bit of stuff on how to get in touch with us. And we did that for like 5 years. Oh, and by the way, I'd only take checks too. I don't want to mess with credit cards. I thought that was stupid. Right? If you want our stuff, you have to call and I'll tell you how much it is. And if you get around to send me a check, I'll send you some stuff. And if you don't, I don't care. I ain't going to send it to you. And we did that for years and years. It was, I don't know, like 3 years before we ever ran a credit card.
Wow. No, I love how that started, like validation. I think people get way too caught up in looking at the end product of what everyone else is selling.
Oh,
and
yeah,
forget the humble origins of how it started.
And in fact, if you got an idea that you'd like to validate, is it okay if they are in touch with you or me? And
yeah, sure.
If you
we'll wrap it up and give our contact.
Yeah, and so if you'd like to, you know, if you think you got a good product, here's what not to do. Don't write, either one of us, an 8-page email about your family history. I won't read it. Write me like a one, or if you can tweet it in 140 characters, I've got this thing, here's what I'd like to do, and I'll tell you how I validate it.
Right? How do they get, do you have a website or anything?
Yeah,
like that
let's see, what's the best...
Because I know you don't even have a big online presence in terms of like you don't have a blog or anything.
Yeah, in fact, if you go to radicalhealth.com, I mean, I just put my audios up there, or our YouTube website. In fact, it's really bad because I don't have our latest recordings up on my website. I just realized it's funny. Okay, the best way to get in touch with me is if you search for Inside Track Party. You know, 3 words on Google, then you can go find our meetup group. Join the meetup group and send me an email through Meetup, and that way it'll get past all my spam filters and I'll actually answer you.
Cool. So if you have health questions, ask him. Because I don't know anything about the health industry.
Our business validation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Cool. Good stuff, man. Good job.
Oh, yeah.